So, you want to digital art some stuff, and I got another one for you, ladies and gentlemen. I like doing these like speed art kind of time lapse commentary videos, and this one I'm gonna try and focus on talking about getting comfortable with drawing and not giving up if you're in a rut. So a lot of the times, I see a lot of people go, it's not good. I don't like my stuff. It's not this and that and everything, and I'm not good. I'm not a good artist or whatnot. And people just stop. They try and they quit what they're doing, and then they try to draw something else. And I want to tell you that that's not something you should do, because a lot of the times, no matter who the artist is, a lot of times in the beginning, the piece just won't come out the way you want. And you can see here, the reason I'm showing this footage of me drawing this girl is because I didn't like the way it was coming out in the beginning. I just didn't like it at all. But I just kept pushing through it until it got to a point where I liked it and it was the way that I wanted it. And then it got better from there. So pretty much right now in this entire phase of what you're seeing right now, I completely hated the drawing and I didn't want to continue doing it whatsoever, but I just kept going because I knew if I worked on it enough, then it would get to a point where I wanted it, which it did. So that's the number one thing. Always keep going. I mean, like, don't work on the same thing for 2.5 years. Like, if you can't draw a hyper realistic version of Samuel L. Jackson, then you might need to try something else. That's not my point, okay? My point is, if you're having trouble with something that you think you can pull off, then just keep doing it until it gets to a point where you like it. Because like I said, I didn't like most of what I did here, and it's starting to get to a place now where I'm feeling a little bit better about it. But the thing is you can see that I'm using a reference image, and I never use reference images. I've said this before on the channel, I hate reference images, and the only reason I did it was because I wanted to see if I could like follow a image and go, hey, because it started off as me doing a, hey, reference images, this and that. This video is going to be about reference images, but it kind of turned into something else. And a lot of people ask me why I don't like reference images, and the reason is because as an artist, I feel like drawing is a medium where you can do whatever you want. It's kind of like the difference between, real film and then animation. Like, most of the stuff, like, you can't do stuff that happens in Bugs Bunny. And it's the same thing with reference images. It kind of hinders what you can do because you're trying to go off of something that there is. Now, I always say that I hate them because people use them just for regular portraits, just like you're seeing. Right, I've stopped already, by the way. I've been stopped doing the reference images. Like, I just wanted to get down the pose. I was like, I'll start like the first 5 minutes of drawing this. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll use the reference images. I'll go off of that. And then like 6 minutes into it, I was like, okay, I'm done. And by the way, at this point in time, I believe I was somewhere around 15 minutes into the drawing or something like that. I don't know. I spent like an hour and 25 minutes on this, which is quite too long just because I spent too much time trying to get down the initial sketch. But anyway, reference images, I don't like them for many different reasons, but the biggest reason is because I just don't like having to go off of something, especially because a lot of the times it's, like I said, it's just for regular portraits. Like, I don't understand why people feel they have to use a reference image to go off of a regular portrait. Now, if you're in some kind of art class and you're supposed to be doing that, then totally, yeah, sure. But just as a regular artist, just going off and just using reference images, I don't understand. I don't get it. But what I do understand is that a lot of the times I will, and I have used reference images. I've took reference images before of my hand or something like that, depending on what I was drawing. Because a lot of the times it's difficult to tell what that specific pose is going to look like because you haven't really seen a person in that pose before. So like, let's say like you're drawing, I don't know, like a ballerina or something. And it's like a super weird pose that like she's jumping in the air and she's like twisting backwards at the same time. It's really, really weird. So a lot of the times people will look up reference images of ballerinas and try and see, try and get in the feel for that and try and understand exactly how that pose might look, even if they can't come up with the exact pose in a picture or the exact angle or whatever. They can try and kind of get a feel for how it would be because they've looked at so many ballerina photos already. So you can see how with dynamic poses, I totally get it. But with other poses, I just regular portraits like this, I just don't get it. I don't understand because, like I said, it's really, really cumbersome to try and follow a set in stone plan, because I believe art is just about what's in your mind and what you want to. I was supposed to. I think the first thing I had in my mind was like a businesswoman or something, and then it turned into this girl wearing a backwards basketball cap with a necklace like Katara, and just it turned into something completely different, and I like that. That's the cool thing about art. So like I said in the beginning of this video, if you're struggling with something, don't worry about it, because the piece could completely change before the end of time, before you're done with it. So don't worry about it. It's not coming together. It's not this and that. Like I said, of course, if you're doing like a hyper realistic thing, then, and you're just starting out digital art or just any art in general, then it's probably not going to work out. But but if you're just doing something you've done before and it's not coming out the same way, you're like, oh, I'm off my game today or whatever else, then don't worry about it. Just keep pushing through it, because I know a lot of people have commented and they said, I just stopped trying to do that and I did something else, or I just did this or that, and because what I was doing wasn't working, and I just don't do that. Keep pushing through it, because like I got to tell you, a lot of people tell me that they like my style, and I really appreciate that, and they say that they like my art, and I'm really glad that you like my art. Thank you, by the way. But the thing is that, when I'm drawing specific things, it doesn't come out the way I want it all the time, and I gotta keep going until it gets to the place where I like it. Tracing. A lot of people don't like artists that trace things, and of course neither do I, because artists don't trace things. But I believe when you're starting to learn how to draw, you don't let me not say learn how to draw, because you don't learn how to draw from tracing, because that's going to be like a cheat and you're not going to know how to do it from now. That's like saying to a piano player that if you look at this and that that isn't sheet music and you're just able to recreate the music, that's cheating. You can't actually read sheet music, so don't go around telling people you can. So when I say I want you to trace things, I want you to learn objects and shapes while tracing things. So if you're a beginner and you're struggling with, maybe you always draw like I don't know, skeletons or skulls or whatever, you like guitars or just logos or animals or whatever, and you're having a problem with people and people's faces, because let's be honest, people are very, very difficult to capture, because if one slight thing is wrong and off, then it's going to look weird. So like if her eye is just like a little too far to this side, or it's too big, or her mouth is too small, it's going to look weird. So it's kind of difficult to capture properly if you don't have the right proportions, and tracing will help you get those proportions down, because what it's going to do is every single time, let's say you're having a problem with hands, like I said, and you're drawing like fingers way too long and way too thick, and you're not trying to go for a stylistic style, you're trying to go for a more realistic style, and you just can't get it down the way that you like it, because that's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what other people like, it's what you like. So you can't get it down the way you want. Go ahead and trace somebody's hand. Trace somebody's hand, grab an image of a hand, drop the opacity down, and just add a new layer over top of it, and then just trace over that hand. Break down the shapes, break down the geometry of the hand. Don't look at it as a hand with a bunch of fingers on it. Look at it as a bunch of shapes. So your palm would be a square, each individual section of a finger, until you get to those creases in your fingers, those will all be rectangles, and just break it down. So yeah, those are some of the tips I have for you. Just keep pushing through it. It'll get better. And I don't mean long term, I mean short term on the piece that you're working on. And of course, you want to persevere through long term too. But I mean specifically in this video, through short term. Just keep working on that piece until you can get it the way you want it. Until you finally decided, I'm just not going to be able to draw a hyper realistic version of Bruce Willis. So I'll see you, ladies and gentlemen, in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial time-lapse speed art commentary. I'll see you in the next one, but until then, bye-bye.